Hello, this is my advocacy report that I'm presenting today. I did my advocacy report on oh, hold on. This, the city of Selma, Alabama, and this report is by me, Washika Reese. So here's the history of Selma. So Selma was founded in 1820 by William Rufus King, which is the 13th vice president of the United States. And the economical development of the city is based on agriculture and with cotton, and people relied on it heavily, especially during the slavery days. And one of the challenges that Selma faces over the years was the civil rights movements, um, and industrial decline and high poverty rates. So this is a continuing of the history background, the population change over the years, and Selma economy was heavily based on agricultural. Sorry about that. Particularly cotton and farming, which again relied on slaves. Selma became an important manufacturing center for the Confederate producing war materials during the Civil War. And again, they was going back about history, dealing with the economy, and discussing the soil and how since it was big on cotton, it was heavily based for slavery. That was like of course their job. All right. So, what type of community do you think Selma classifies under, rural or urban? And this is interesting because a lot of people, when I tell people I'm from Selma, they automatically think country backwoods. But no, Selma is considered a small urban community with rural characteristics. I grew up in a more of a, oh, I would say more of a suburban because it was in the suburbs or well a neighborhood, but it was like I feel like urban is like the corner store up the street that you can walk, how they have like the candy lady or something like that in the neighborhood. My neighborhood wasn't like that, so I figured mine was more suburban. But we also have like rural characteristics, as you can see, like the cotton field over there. That's part of Selma, and the picture with the car, that's downtown Selma. So it's both. It's rural and urban, so it's definitely both. This, of course, the city of Selma is part of the Black Belt community, known for its dark soil, making it an important area for, again, particular farming, cotton. Our residents, and this is going back to like the area I grew up in. So we do have like public housing, as you can see in the picture of on the bottom of the picture, and then up top to the left you see more of a cultural home, heritage home. Now that's a picture of a home. Homes like that are like located in West Selma. They're like very old, and I mean they're very old and nice. And you hear some stories about them being a little haunted, which is true because I had an aunt that lived in one of those homes. Like those homes in West Selma are very interesting, because they was built during the slavery, and they're like I remember as a little girl, the closets, it was one of the bedroom closet had a trap door in the closet. So when you open the closet door, if you don't have any clothing in the closet, you can see like where it used to be a doorknob, where a doorknob can go. It's not a doorknob. It's like you stick your finger in, and you can pull it. But when you open the door, it's just like it's a small area. You can easily get claustrophobic in it. It's very small. And they were saying that certain slaves used to hide, or just a lot of little different stories about that. But of course, some have public housing, and with low income neighborhoods often face the challenges of overcrowded, inadequate maintenance, and limited funding for repairs and improvement. Places of business. So this is called a drugstore. This drugstore is again downtown Selma. Been there for years. It's a picture of that. Many recently faced income hardship, high poverty, and unemployment rates. Downtown are featured with mixed historical buildings, which have some been preserved, repurposed for business such as shops, restaurants, and offices. And there's some buildings still down there that's vacant and needs repaired. Right here, this is a historical picture. This is a picture of City Hall. And again, I'm still going through the condition of the streets and buildings, public buildings in Selma, and historical landmarks. And one of the historical landmarks, I'm surprised I don't have it on here. Well, it was in the beginning, the Edmunds Pettimus Bridge. That's a historical landmark that people know about. The National Voting Rights Museum and the Brown Chapel AME Church. You'll see that further along in my slides. But public buildings such as City Hall, we have a good library, to be honest. Like, that's one of the best libraries. That and Birmingham City Library, I think those are two good libraries if you really, really want to get down into some history. The mixed commercial and residential property. So residential properties are larger portions of land used to compare commercial properties. When I was looking and trying to see the mix of it, it was hard for me to find something on it, but I would say it's half and half. I think it's half, and it might be more residential property, to be honest. I don't know. It's half and half. I couldn't find anything regarding that. But here are pictures of the parks and recreation in Selma. That's to the left. That's Block Park. Everyone, that's a popular park everyone goes to, and that's part of the playground area. Then again, of course, Block Park, one of the largest park that we have. We have the baseball field. We have walking trails, picnic, the Memorial Stadium. That's we play our football games. Riverfront Mark, and the city park, 7 city parks. Those are the 4 parks that we have that a lot of people, continue to enjoy. Demographics. So, of course, even though Selma was found by I think all the towns were probably found back then by white people. I'm not sure, but of course, Selma population is African American. The second largest racial group in Selma is white, and then smaller populations Hispanics, Latinos, and Asians. I don't remember seeing a lot of Hispanics or Latinos growing up, but I mean, we did have some Asians. So this is a chart showing the population, the racial and discrimination. So this is like one of the biggest things that everybody knows Selma for, which is the civil rights movement. We call it Bloody Sunday, where we come out where they would do the reenactment. But I know, where we do the reenactment, when we do the reenactment during the civil rights movement. So, of course, like I said, it's famous and known for the civil rights movements, the Selma to Montgomery March in 1965. And they was fighting for African American voting rights. And on the next slide, you'll see some people that was marching, and of course, and to be honest, to the left, the one where you see the billy clubs and the people down, I cannot think of his name. I just got a brain freeze right now. I cannot think of his name. But I do remember that my 7th grade history teacher, her husband, Mr. Mathis, he was there on that march too. I remember her telling us, and he was like not that far behind Dr. King. And then right there to the right, you see, that's like after Bloody Sunday, and then people start when they start making it a celebration or a remembrance. I shouldn't call it. It's a remembrance. Let's see. Gosh, I cannot think of his name. John Lewis. That's John Lewis with the trench coat on, right in front of us. That's him. Yeah. Okay. One of the senators. I don't. I think out of Georgia though. So the government part of Selma, you have of course the Selma mayor and the city councilor, government. I'm sorry, Selma mayor council forms a government allows for a clear division of executive and leg, leg, again tongue tied, legis, legislation functions with the mayor managing the city and administration in the city council handling the, I don't know why I cannot pronounce this word, excuse me, duties. This structure aims to provide balance and governance with an elected official representing the interests of the community and working together to address city issues. Right here you see Tara Sewell. She is the Alabama House of Representative for District 23. She's from Selma. She grew up in Selma. She her mom was a big influence on me pledging the AKA. She was our librarian, and then she also stayed. They lived around the corner from us, but of course, Tira Sue is way older than me, so I don't remember her growing up. But I do remember her mom and spending a lot of time with Miss Sewell. So right here, political characteristics of Selma. So right there to the left, that's a picture of John Lewis again marching. They doing a reenactment, and of course Michelle Obama and President Obama getting ready to march across the bridge. Now to my right is Rose and Hank Sanders. They are a big influence of Selma. They met at Harvard. They went to Harvard High School. I'm sorry, I said Harvard High School. They went to Harvard College, Harvard University, and they have their own law firm. And they fought for rights for African American. They fought for African American to vote. They fought for a lot of things in Selma. Actually, she was like the first black female lawyer in Selma, and her husband is like the first black senator in that area. Um, those two, that power couple broke a lot of barriers because I remember before I was born, we had the same mayor that reside over Selma, the same mayor that called Dr. Keena Coon on live TV. What was that guy name? Joe Stud is a no, yeah, Joe Stutterman. No, I'm so nervous doing this. I can't think. But he was the mayor for over 20 years probably until we end up getting our first black mayor. And Rose Sanders and her husband Hank Sanders was the reason why they got people out to vote and to you know get a better mayor of Selma. Right here are the community subsystem and educational. So this right here is a chart showing the ratio of female to male, enrollment by diversity, black, African American, white, two or more races. That's a 0.4%. That's low. I'm pretty don't know how accurate that is. I'm surprised that's well maybe I mean, who knows? It is Selma. I just know other places it probably a higher percentage when you have two or more races. And that's to continue with the state and federal revenue. Oh, this regarding the educational system, and that's the revenue and total expenses per child. Healthcare services. So believe it or not, even though Selma is small, we do have healthcare facilities. I'm glad that they have an OBGYN service back in Vaughn Regional Hospital because I think in the early 2000s they lost their license, but they got them back. They got it back. So we have a hospital. We got primary cares. We got specialty clinics, OBGYN services, home health agency, of course, the health department, pediatrics clinic, dental clinic, mental health clinics, urgent care centers, and hospice care. So definitely has to be an urban community to have all of that because usually rural places it's very hard for people to sustain or get proper health care. All right, so this I'm on to the religious influence. So this is the famous Brown Chapter AME Church. So this is the church where when they do the Bloody Sunday, when they did Bloody Sunday back in 1965, this is the church that they met up at to discuss the march. So yeah, so that's one of the popular landmarks there. So churches in Selma were central to the civil rights movement, serving as meeting places, like I said before, organizi- or, organizi- organizing centers and refugees for Africans. These involvements of religious leaders like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. highlights the deep connection between faith and social justice in Selma. Annual events like the Selma Bridge Crossing Jubilee often begins with prayer services and involvement significant participation from religious leaders. Religious leaders in Selma are often involved in local politics, advocating for social justice, voting rights, and community development. So we kind of lean very hard on the church when it comes to voting or any type of political reason. All right, so social services. So we have a lot of social services in Selma, even though it's a small town. You got Community Actions Agency, you got DHR, Dallas County Department of Human Resources, Cahaba Center for Mental Health, Selma Dallas County Public Library, Selma Area Food Bank, Selma Housing Authority, Selma Good Samaritan Food Pantry, Selma's Career Center, and Alabama Career Center. And that's one of the key points, to help employment and other stuff like that. Selma Community Development Corporation and Selma Area Council of Aging. This right here is the food bank, nutrition, Selma Area Food Bank, Bosco Nutrition Center. That's where you can go get a hot meal. They offer that. Let's see, the Brown Bag Program, Commodity Supplement Food Program, and of course we have local farmers that at farmers market that sell you fresh fruits and vegetables, and we have 5 local grocery stores. Now, transportation. Um, I kind of regret I didn't because I focused my problem on poverty because I know it's a lot of poverty there now and unemployment. But if I if I really want to push to try to make a change in my hometown, transportation will be one of my main issues. I did not know they did not have Uber or Lyft drivers there. They still rely on taxi cabs, and I didn't know that, or personal vehicles. And I tell people growing up, I didn't catch the bus to school. You either walk to school, or we stayed too far from the school, but it was walkable, or you could ride your bike. But you either walk to school or you catch a ride. The school buses was reserved for special the special education students or disabled students. Social control in Selma is maintained through a combination of informal community norm, institutional practice from and formal legal mechanism. These influences work together to regulate behavior, promote social order, and uphold shared values within the community. Let's see. Network system. The city is best known for the 1960s Selma voting rights movement. And the Selma to Montgomery March began with Bloody Sunday in March 1965 and ended with 25,000 people entering Montgomery at the end of the last march to press for voting rights. So yeah, they marched from Selma to Montgomery and driving. distance. That's like a 45 minutes, 45 to hour minutes, 45 minutes to 60 minutes drive. Next, we're going to go to the economy. So, as of July the 3rd, 2024, the unemployment rate actually went up, which I was unaware of till I got knee high into this assignment. It's lower than the long term average of 13.32%. This is also lower than the unemployment rate of 5.7. The previous month was 5.4. The previous year. Unemployment existing for population group in Selma. So they have manufacturing, healthcare, education. I know a lot of my classmates they moved back home to Selma. They're like teachers right now. I know a couple of them in healthcare, retail services. Selma does have like a little mall. I don't know what's in it anymore, but I know they still have a mall. Government, I have some classmates that's in the government running for sheriff and mayor. One of my sister classmates ran for mayor one year. And what else? We have agriculture. This word did not like me. Agricultural. Of course, we will have that because we know for a lot of the rural areas in cotton. Transportation, logistics, nonprofit, and social services, which where I will fall under if I move back to Selma, which that won't happen ever. Let's see, external economic change. So right now, the employment changes in national and global economic conditions can affect local industrials. Let's see, the impact income levels within community, business viability, local businesses, particularly small business may struggle during the economic downturns due to the reduced consumer spending. And that's a problem with Selma because by it being so small, a lot of people travel outside the city to buy things. I remember when I was a child, like my mom, she didn't take us back to school shopping in Selma. She always took us to Montgomery, a bigger city with a bigger mall, or Birmingham. We used to come up here too. What's so unique about Selma? Of course, the history, the cultural, community resilience. I mean, the stories you hear from people that was born and raised. Let's see, and culture. Well, let's say cultural diversity, which I don't see the diversity for real, but hey, I read it and that's what it said. But again, I don't live there anymore. Selma crime rates. Crime is very high there, and of course, I feel like the crime is high there due to poverty and low employment. As you can see, like the crimes on here on this chart. That let's see. Yes, we have the HIV and AIDS status of Selma. And this is sad because even though Selma is so small in central Alabama, it has the seventh highest HIV rate in the state. Seven, like they're in the top 10. And I think they also in the top 10 when it comes to crime too, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, not good. The social services facility in Selma. So Selma, they have 20 daycare facilities, which is good because again, that will help out with people that need job that trying to find a job for childcare. They have 5 different food banks to assist with homeless, and they just Selma just recently, previously, they just got a homeless shelter earlier this year. And so that was a big thing because usually, like people, when they're homeless in Selma, they end up staying in abandoned buildings or they end up sending them to bigger cities. Like they would send them, put them on a bus and send them to Birmingham or send them to Montgomery. Culture tradition in Selma again, the Jubilee Crossing. That right there to the left, that's a flyer. I like going to the milestones Jubilee, like the 50th anniversary. I didn't go to, I think that's 59th anniversary. I didn't go to that one, but I'm going to the 60th anniversary. My parents they usually go every year. My uncle owns a club, a blues club downtown, and we just go there and hang out there because he's from well he's not from but he lives in New Orleans, but he rents out his club. And during the Jubilee, that's where everybody comes so they can come and eat some good gumbo. And we just hang out there and work and enjoy the festivities and get ready to line up and do the march. It's always a good thing to do the march. And let's talk about Selma social problem. Selma has a high poverty rate with many residents struggling to meet basic needs. Um, Basic needs, you'll be surprised that even though Selma has so many different types of employment options, the pay rate is horrible. And that's why people can barely meet their basic needs. You can get a job, the same job that you can get in Selma and in another town, you probably see a humongous difference on your pay because it's some people that you'll think with these big titles that they making some money and they really making minimum wage, and it's sad, and that's why the high employment rate was leading up to be high at the time because you might as well not work and get a check because if you work, your paycheck gonna be the same amount as the check you get from the government from not working. So, and I think a lot of residents think that way because they working and they're not making a lot of money to make their ends meet. So, what can we do to reduce poverty and employment rates? Definitely attract new businesses. I know me and some of my cousins, we've been talking about trying to, buy a building in Selma and bring something back because right now they don't have a skating rink anymore. They don't have a bowling alley. Just bring something back to the community. I think that revenue would, breaking in revenue because Selma get a lot of revenue when it comes to the Jubilee, but I think I don't know how that money is distributed. But then, of course, support small business. That's a big thing right there. I have a classmate, her mom, they end up buying a coffee shop downtown. And I used to hear a lot of people say, oh, yeah, it's a nice little, coffee shop, but it's expensive. But, sometimes when you start a business, I mean, small business are always going to be more expensive than a chain restaurant. So just continue to support small business to try to build that revenue up in Selma. And I feel like if they do that, that encourage other people to, invest in the city, to help it grow, invest in improving transportation. And I really do like, since I did this assignment, I really do want to improve and look into this transportation and try to figure out why transportation is like that. I, I'm still puzzled, so that right there is bothering me. So definitely gonna look into that because I don't know. I just think I can do something with that to help the city of Selma with transportation because they still using cabs, and I didn't know cabs was. Well, I do see cabs at the airport, but I'm just shocked. And and of course, just boost up tourism. Let have people to. Well, most people always come to Selma for on the Jubilee, but have other things there to bring people into the city and want and to have people want to move back to Selma or think this is a good place to settle down and have kids or retire from or retire and move back there. But I guess we have to see. But like I said, since I did this assignment, I'm definitely want to go and look into this transportation deal because I'm still floored that they only have cabs and they don't have Lyft or Uber. If you don't have your own personal car, you either walking. All right, this is the end of my presentation, and I hope I entertain you guys. And that is a picture of the Evans Petimus Bridge. That's the infamous bridge that Bloody Sunday happened on, and that we continue to cross every March for the Jubilee celebration, for Bloody Sunday. All right, that's it. Thank you so much.